Hello and welcome back to the Bold Believers Podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Dawn, and what I want to share with you in today's episode is that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are exactly where you're supposed to be in your business, in your walk with God, in your relationships, in all areas of your life. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. You would not be where you are right now today if you were supposed to be somewhere else. And I know when I'm saying this, some of you might be listening to this going, yeah, but you don't really get it. Like, I really, really don't want to be where I am right now. And I know I should be further along. I know I've put in so much work. I know I've been showing up. I know I've been doing the work to get out of where I am and over to where I want to be. So no, I should not be here. I should be over there. But if you were meant to be over there now, you would be. One thing that's really helped me with this over the years is leaning into what can I learn in the here and now? Knowing that where I am currently is not where I'm going to be forever, knowing that something different is on its way. There's a vision that I've had. There is something coming that is different from where I am now. But what can I lean into in the here and now that will support me into the next phase that I know is coming? It is inevitable because I've already seen it. God's already given me the vision. I already know it's coming. An example around this comes from years ago when I had my cleaning business. I have so many examples from that time in my life. It was such a huge period of growth for me when it came to my business journey. And at this point, I had been cleaning for a while. And even though I was really grateful for what I had created with that company, I knew that I wanted to be coaching. I knew that I no longer wanted to be cleaning people's houses and scrubbing toilets. And I definitely dipped into some bitterness. I was a little bit bratty. A little bit bitter because why am I still here? I had already started my business, my online coaching business, but it wasn't full time yet. It wasn't financially supporting me yet. And so I'd be cleaning people's houses and kind of muttering and grumbling under my breath, of course, quietly to myself as I was scrubbing away. I shouldn't be here. I should be further along. I should be making more money. And what I noticed is that the longer I stayed in that space mentally, the longer I felt that bitterness and frustration in my body, the worse I felt. It felt horrible. At first, I would justify it, and I would play some mental games with myself. Well, I should be further along. It makes sense that I'm working with more clients at this point in time in my business. Look at how much I've invested. Look at how many hours I put in. I would ramble off all of these reasons, which again is exhausting when we talk to ourselves like this all day. We should be talking to God instead, but back then I wasn't on my walk with God. But it was exhausting, and I realized this sucks. Like, I don't want to be living like this. And I had a little moment with myself where I got really real. And I said, okay, well, what's really good about where I am right now? And at first there was so much resistance because my brain's like, you're scrubbing toilets, you're mopping floors. I don't know what is good about that. And so again, I had to get a little strict with my mind, because if we don't, our mind will take us off into the bushes, into places that are very unhelpful for us. And I thought, well, for one thing, I'm no longer at a 9-to-5. I'm actually working in a business that is my own. I am in charge of everything going on right now. This is my company. That's something I can lean into. And then I also looked at the different things I was doing in my cleaning business that were transferable skills. Because through that work, I learned a lot about sales, a lot about communication, a lot about confidence and showing up. Like, there were so many things that I was doing day to day. At this point in time, I wasn't doing sales every day, but I was working on my communication skills, my customer service skills. There were things I was doing every single day in that business that I knew I would be able to take with me. And so I showed up and I started doing the best I could with where I was. Now, I had already been doing a good job cleaning people's houses, but I went all in with this. I was like, I am going to be the absolute best housekeeper these people have ever had. I'm going to have like the best communication skills. I'm going to knock customer service out of the park. Like, I went all in with what I had and where I was. And I started to feel so much better. We have so much control over our internal state, and it is so common for people to just give their power away to their circumstances. We have so much more control over what's going on within us than we realize. And I started to feel so much better because I started thinking differently. I started looking at where I was not as this massive problem that I had to escape from, not as this circumstance that was weighing me down and slowing me down and, dragging me down. Like, I stopped looking at it like that, and I started seeing it as a stepping stone. I didn't know exactly what my coaching business was going to look like. I mean, I had been working with some clients at this point in time, and I had gotten a good start, but it has evolved so much over the years. I never could have predicted where it is today. But I knew that if I worked on those things, those transferable skills in my cleaning business, they were going to carry forward some point in the future. They were going to help me. And this applies to not just our business, but every single area. I don't know about you, but I have definitely been in apartments over the years, especially in my younger years when I was living in a little bachelor apartment, that they weren't exactly the ideal place to live. The rent was cheap, but it was above a bar, and you had noisy neighbors and, maybe some pest issues in the building. Like, I have lived in some places that were downright sketchy. And it's really easy to look at our physical environment and think, well, what do I really have here to be happy about? Like, look at this place. It's not that much. It's not my dream home, that's for sure. But there's always something we can do that we can lean into with our present circumstance that can help us feel better. In your living environment, maybe it's throwing a fresh coat of paint on the walls, getting some new artwork, getting a new piece of furniture or an area rug, something simple that's not going to break the bank, but it elevates your environment. You're making the most of what you have, because the way God works is, if we're not happy with what we have, why on earth would he give us any more? If we can't handle what we currently have, why on earth would we think we're going to be able to handle more? I've noticed I've been doing this with my walk with God as well. And I caught myself because there were moments where I was thinking, oh man, I wish I was further along. I wish I knew the Bible better. I wish I had more study under my belt when it came to who God is and what he says in his word. I just wish I knew so much more than I do right now, because then I'd feel so much closer to him. I'd feel so much more qualified to be a Christian, which is, I know, ridiculous just thinking that, but that's where my mind was going. And I had to stop my mind from going off into the bushes, bring it on back, and remind myself, I'm never going to be here again. I am never going to be in this place with God today again. This present moment with God is all I have, and I'll never get it back. So I'm going to dig into exactly where I am. I'm going to lean right into it instead of wishing I was further along, instead of looking back at my past spiritual journey and wishing that I made different decisions over the years. I'm not going to do that because it's not going to serve me. It's not going to change anything. But what will change is being exactly where I'm supposed to be with him, which is right here. Another example around this that I've heard from multiple people over the years who are really longing to get married is that they wish they were further along in their dating life. Over the course of my coaching business, a lot of it had to do with manifestation. So I was working primarily with entrepreneurs, but so many other things would come up in conversations, and relationships were a thing, even though that's not what I focused on at front and center. Relationships would come up and people would be really frustrated that they were still dating. And I told them, I said, you're never going to be here again. You are never going to be dating this person, whether it's month 1 or month 6, you're never going to be here again with them. Enjoy it. Because it's so funny. We think that the grass is always greener, right? That's a popular expression for a reason. And in this example, some people think, well, once I'm married, then I'm going to be happy. Then I'm going to have it made. And if you have been married before, or you currently are, you know that marriage comes with its own set of challenges that dating doesn't. And there are probably going to be days when you're married that you're wishing things were a little bit different. And this game that we play can get exhausting. It is exhausting wanting to be somewhere we're not. And when we do this, we miss out on the life that we have been given. Like, this is not a dress rehearsal. Our time on planet Earth is the only time on planet Earth that we have. And I fully believe that we are here for a reason. There is a purpose and a reason that we are here. And if we are rushing through things to get to the next goal, to get to whatever destination we're telling ourselves is going to be so much better than where we are missing the entire point. We're missing the entire point. You're exactly where you're supposed to be right here, right now. And if you're feeling frustrated, that is perfectly okay. It is so important to feel whatever it is you need to feel. But there's always something that you can focus on that is going to better your current experience. Always. We have the power to do that with the power of our mind. God gave us the power of our mind for a reason. We can focus on things that help us feel better. We can focus on Him. We can focus on what He says, on His promises. We can focus on things that take us out of worry, that take us out of bitterness, that take us out of the rut that is so easy for us to fall into when we're looking at our current circumstances thinking that we should not be here. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that. I will leave you with that. That felt kind of ranty, but that's what was coming through today. If you want to connect further, the best place to get together is over on Instagram at I am Kelly Dawn. And if you want to learn more about working together, I have one-to-one options available right now. I will link the sales page for that up below in the show notes. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I can't wait to speak with you in the next episode.